Okay, good. Okay. So since you are able to hear me very clearly, I am going to talk about the CDM process overview. I'm not sharing my screen yet, okay, but I'll be sharing soon based on the discussion. Okay. So today I'm going to talk about the complete overview on how the CDM process works. According to my habit, the way I teach students is giving them the the background, because until unless you know the background of the story, you never know that how things works, right? That is the reason that let's talk about the importance of this data, why there is a need of collecting of data, and where exactly it is coming from, and why do we even need a data, that why there is a session required like this, why it is so important that many of you people join thinking that there's a huge scope on it. Then you might get an idea that okay, that is the reason that I'm learning the course, that is the reason that I'm taking signing up for this course. So you all know that there are a lot of medications in the market. There are a lot of medications that you see in the pharmacy. You see in that are coming from the plants. But the question is that, am I just manufacturing this medication and bringing to the pharmacy? No. Even I used to think like that. When I was working as a microbiologist, I used to work on the bacterial resistance, or on UTI and a lot of things actually. So now, but that's not what that's not what exactly happening. In order to bring a molecule, or in order to bring a product to the market, there are years of hard work behind it. That is called something called clinical research. It's a broader term. Clinical research is the broader term. So here is a tip for you. Whenever you go for any interview, people try to confuse you what is the difference between the clinical research and the trial. So make sure that you know the difference. Again, I would like to tell you one thing here. Throughout our sessions, I'll keep talking about some specific terms. You need to write it down. I'll also give you some questions during sessions. I know it's a remote, I don't know what exactly happening at your end, but make sure whether you are lying down and listening this session, or sitting down in this session, or you're traveling and listening this session, no issue. But make sure that you are taking note of it. And sometimes we think that okay, the session is getting recorded, so there is no issue, right? We might we will listen later. No, you cannot do that. This is the most of the times that we make. This is the uh, mistake that we do most of the time. And that is the reason what you need to do, that take the specific terms that keep we listen during the interviews, and the questions that we keep getting, because for the last decade of my um, presence in the clinical research, we used to talk, or we used to listen about a lot of sessions, like a lot of terms, like what is the most frequent asked questions, what is the most frequent response that we expect from students, right? So that my experience will help you a lot, but only in case if you take a note of it, and if you ask me questions. So in remote, right, when I ask you, can am I audible, most of the people message me, no, I don't want you people to type, I want you people to respond yes or no. Why? Because when you talk, you might break your fear, like public talking. Ayo, if I talk, what people would think, because this will help you during your interviews. That is the reason that I'm trying to tell you everything. Okay, so whenever you have any questions, unmute, please respond, and we can make these sessions very interactive. For the next couple of sessions, we're going to talk about series of steps in the clinical data management. But please, this is not one-way communication. This has to be two-way communication. You ask me questions, I'll respond. Sometimes I ask questions, you people should respond. So now, what is the clinical trial? What is this trial? Trial is self something we are testing, something we are trying to, let's say that you cooked food, and you asked your cousins or the friends to taste it. You're eagerly waiting. What is the outcome of it? Is it good? Is it bad? Or someone hospitalized? Okay, I'm just kidding. No one will hospitalized. Okay. If it is good, that means you're success. If it is bad, they might tell you, less, what is that, salt, or too much of salt, or less sugar, or high sugar. They might say, so you, based on that, you would be working. Now, whatever people are saying, right, that too much of sugar or less sugar or too much of spicy, that is the things that are being added to the outcome. So that is the data, that is the information they are giving. Too much of spice is the information that you got in order to tell whether what we should do further. Same way, in order to bring a molecule to the market, and we are doing the trial on the people, the outcome is whether this drug can be released into the market or not. So now, how do I say that this drug should be released to the market? Based on the information that I'm getting, based on the data. The data tells, okay, a lot of people are getting side effects, then this drug cannot be given. Or people are taking this trial drug, but no one is getting cured, then this is not right. And I'm not sharing my screen set, yes. So these are, since it's our first session, I'm trying to give you overview on the overview of the clinical research process and some tips that how do we go ahead moving on the sessions. Okay, so now we look for the outcome. Now if you see that there is a data that is coming from, there is information that I'm getting from the trial. Who will collect this information? There is a team called clinical data management personnel who collect this data, who helps in tracking and querying this data, who ensuring that this data would help us back, right? So that's what CDM does. And apart from that, throughout the clinical research, there are many steps involved into. So since this is only a clinical data management, we don't talk much about other team responsibilities, but we do definitely talk in this session that how the clinical research works. Okay, so again, I'm saying I'm not sharing my screen yet. Okay, let's take one example here. Let's take do you know any cancer hospitals? Anyone? Do you know any cancer hospital, like oncology hospitals? Anyone?
Kidwai, Kidwai, sir.
Okay, Kidwai. Okay, very good. Okay, it's easy. Mhm. Okay, let's take enough Kidwai. Kidwai get lot of, I think it's in Bangalore, right? Yeah. They get lot of patients actually. They get lot of cancer patients. Do you really think that every cancer has a cure? Do you really think that every cancer has a specific correct medications? Or do you really think there are even medications that are there for the all the cancers? No, we don't think. Let's take an example of brain tumor. Not yeah, Baswata, very good. Yeah, so not every tumor has a medicines. Now there are companies called sponsor companies. Fatafat, tell me, do you know any sponsor companies? Come on, fast. Sponsor companies. Amgen, very good. Merck, very good. That's all. Only one person. It's okay if it is wrong. Also, that's definitely fine. Okay, I don't know. Like was okay. Next, Astra, very good. AstraZeneca. Come on, guys. Maps. Okay, I don't know maps, but Novartis, very good. If you answer, you'll remember forever. Novo Nordisk, very good. Icon, Noma. Icon is the CRO company. That I'll tell you. Okay, yeah. Pfizer. Come on, come on, come on. Very good. Bristol Myers Squibb, very good. J&J, very good. BMS, yeah. Bristol Myers Squibb. Dr. Reddy's, okay, yeah. Eli Lilly. Rosh, very good. Come on, come on. Sanofi, very good. Sun Pharma, very good. Guys, hold on. Not pass, hold on. So I'll go to my answers. Recently, in Hyderabad, especially, Amgen, um, Bristol Myers Squibb, J&J, Sanofi have come to Hyderabad. And Eli Lilly is in Bangalore and Chennai, and Paraxel is in Bangalore, Sun Pharma is in Pune, Mumbai, SI in Pune, Roche is in Pune, Dr. Reddy is in Hyderabad and many other states, J&J is in Bangalore and Hyderabad, Pfizer is in Mumbai and Chennai, and Novo Nordisk in Bangalore, Novartis in Hyderabad, and Merck is in Bangalore and other places. So anything else? Yeah, Serum Institute is one of the form. Yeah, anything else? Come on. You it, yeah. Okay, good. Thank you so much. Yes, Sairam. So now, what this company do? Why I said sponsor companies? What is the meaning of sponsor? Who is the sponsor for our education? Your parents are the sponsor for our education. Am I right? Yes. Why? Because they pay money for our education. They take care of your well-beings. They oversight your education, right? Because they're paying money, and also that they will ensure that you are getting everything that you need to develop your career, to develop yourself. That's why we call them sometimes sponsors. And why I said sponsors, in clinical research, the sponsors are nothing but pharmaceutical companies like Eli Lilly, Amgen, Roche, Novartis, Novo Nordisk, Pfizer, and J&J, Merck, lot of companies. What they do, they fund the money to do the clinical research. Now I give an example. There is a brain tumor which is there spreading almost hundred of people in every state or overall the country, and there is no medication for it. People are living with the supplementary medications like subsiding their pain and all. Now what this one of the company they do, they will try to get a molecule on it, like identifying the molecule by just working on antigen antibody reactions, or the molecule that can work, that can kill the tumor. But we don't know 100%, only theory we know. They work on it like map product, monoclonal antibodies, but only theory. Now practically I should know how this molecule can work, how this protein molecule, it can be protein, it can be carbohydrate, it can be anything. When I say molecule of product, now they need patients, the live patients, who can give the exact results how my product should work or the product is working. Now what they do, they will go to the hospitals. Like before that, they will register with the regulatory authorities. Guys, I'm not talking about regulatory affairs, I'm talking about regulatory authority. There is a difference between the regulatory affairs and the regulatory authorities. Authorities are nothing but the government entities like the So what is the regulatory authority body of India? Regulatory authority entity. Very good. CDS. US, Canada, Canada, Japan, Japan, Canada, Japan, Japan, Australia. Good. You should know that's my country. Okay, good. It is here. So moving forward, no abbreviations. You should talk completely. What is CDO, CO, what is the FDA? That's a suggestion. Now, what they do, they will register their molecule. If you go to www.clinicaltrial.gov.in, if you go to clinicaltrials.gov.in, every clinical trial will be registered there. And now what they do, they go to these companies. Now they prepare the protocol, everything. They go to this all these cancer hospitals like Baswataram Hospital, or other hospital like Site Care, or Kidwai, all these go to, and they meet the doctors and tell them that, hey, we are going to do a clinical trials in Kidwa hospital or in Hyderabad or Bangalore. So if you have any patients, specifically brain tumor of these categories, like between 40 to 60 years, and male patients, female patients are all together, you can send it to us. So this then the cancer oncologist, if he has any patients, he would talk to them stating that, hey, you're living with supplementary medication. There is a company called Novartis, there is a company called Roche is performing clinical trial on this brain tumor, and this is still a trial. We don't know whether this medication will work or not. If this works, you'll be the first person to get the cure. You can try it on. Then if this person is interested, he will go and register on the specific hospital. Then, in that case, once you get registered in hospital, then they will perform the clinical trial that patients on weekly basis, monthly basis. They keep giving the medications to the patients, and where the patients will start, taking the medications and giving certain. Guys, just a second, just be online. Um, so now we so these people, the patients comes to the hospital and take the medications. Whenever there is a like whenever the patient is coming to the hospital, they would be collecting the data, like, the data is nothing but adverse events and how the patients are reacting. They go to the MRI scans, they do the CT scans, and they go for the results. So whenever there is updates, whenever there's information is coming from, we will capture this into the case report form, and that is our proof that how my trial product is working, and that is the data. So that means I'm giving the trial product to the one person, and I am doing the test to the patients. Now you might get an doubt. So does the patient has to pay for all these treatment costs? No. That is why I call them the sponsor. Sometimes, being a student during my college, I don't pay my college fees because my parents does it. My parents pay for it. Same way, same with that, my the sponsor will pay for all their costs, including the travel costs. The sponsor will pay the laboratory tests, their medication costs, their traveling, their food on the specific day, everything taken care by the sponsor companies, right? And then once they do all these formalities, and this trial goes for years and years, because I cannot I cannot read everything in 1 year, right? I cannot study all the physics, chemistry directly after my 10th standard. No, it's not possible. I'll have to learn everything from ABCD, from the first standard, second standard, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. That's the same way. I don't just give this medication to thousands of the people at a time. I take 5 patients first step, then one step, then 100 patients, 1,000 patients, 10,000 patients. That's how my trial goes on, right? Because if I give thousand of the people at a time, what if so many people die? No, there's one thing they say: dying with a disease, unavoidable, but dying with the wrong medication, unacceptable, right? That is the reason that we slowly give the smaller medications, higher medications to the smaller people, and we keep increasing, and that's how we read the data. To do this clinical trial, we need a minimum 6 years, 7 years, even 10 years. This is one thing. And the second thing is that there's also say that whenever we do the clinical trial, it is important that we perform whenever we do the clinical trial, it's important that we perform such a, like, for example, let's say, we perform we need a lot of people, like, for example, we need clinical operations, we need CDM people, we need regulatory affairs people, we need medical data review people. We, we need all these people to perform one trial. Sometimes it even takes $100 million, 200 millions, $300 million, right? So in order to ensure that the trial is going correctly, even the regulatory authorities also will take care of it. So whenever there is information that the regulatory authority keep looking at, they'll come for the inspections, they'll come for the review, and if something goes wrong, they'll put everything into the issues, and that's what happening here. right? So this is the clinical trial. Now what I want you what I want or what I need from you all is that please ensure to read that what is the therapeutic area. Take a note of it. What is the therapeutic area? If you write, if you study, if you understand this, you'll understand most of the information on the what is the oncology, what is the cardiology, or what is the nephrology, what is the urology, all the trial happening in these departments on these areas. So take a question, what is the therapeutic area? Then what is the clinical trial? Take note of it. What is the clinical trial? Then next, how the types of clinical trials. Guys, this is very important. No matter if you go to interview for the clinical data management or anything, you should know different types of clinical trial. So when I say the different types is different and different phases of clinical trial is different. So when I say phase one, phase two, phase three, that is different. But when I say the different guys, as I mentioned, that I'm not sharing screen my head. I'm only talking to you all. Since our first session, I'm only talking to you all like as in a conversation, like explaining that how the background of it. Okay, if you want me to share the screen, let me do that. We're just trying to have the conversation on the how the background process happens in the clinical research and what are the different aspects that we needed to perform the trial. Okay, so let me quickly share my screen. Have you taken the note of it? Different types of clinical trial. Then name the guys. Did you complete? So these three questions, like different types of clinical trial. What is the therapeutic area, and what is the other question? Guys, need to talk. Okay, I'm sharing my screen. Just a second, it's hanging. What is it? Yeah, exactly. So please make sure that you read about all this. So please make sure that you read about all this process when you're coming for the next sessions. Okay, let me know once you can see my screen. Can you see my screen? Are you wait, it's coming out. Guys, just a okay. Okay. You all can see my screen, right? Can you unmute and tell?
Yes, sir.
Good. So this is the background of the data management, background of the clinical research. Now, whenever we talk about any process, what we do, we always have an ensure of the talk about the certain activities. So in the coming session, we are going to talk about the CDM activities and everything. Okay. So now, what I need from you people, read about everything on the clinical trials and the clinical trial phases and everything. Now, we're going to talk about what is the data management. Okay, so clinical data management is a critical phase in a clinical research, which leads to generation of high quality, reliable, statistically sound data from different clinical trials, right? So whenever we say that my team is big or our team is bigger or our team is very important, no, that's what we think. But every team in the clinical research is very important. But the question is now that what kind of critical role they play in the data management, what kind of critical role they play in each role. So I definitely say clinical data management is a critical role. Why? Because they collect the data. They ensure that every information is correct. If there is any mistaken data, or if there is any error data, if there is any issues with the data, they will clean this data first. Then they will send this data to regulatory authority. So if you are choosing your career, if you are planning to choose your career for the CDM, then it's very good. Why? Because you'll have plenty of opportunities in the clinical data management, but you all should know basics of the clinical research. Until unless you know the basics of the clinical research, you will never able to clear it. Now, what are these basics? So far, whatever I discussed with you, right, that's the basics. Now, you also should know one more thing. What is protocol? Take note of it. What is protocol? What is protocol in clinical trial? And next is what is informed consent form, ICF. What is informed consent? Who is investigator in clinical research? Who is investigator in clinical research? Okay. Okay. So any questions so far? Yes, any questions so far? Any questions? No? Others? Okay. So since our this is our first session, I only have this basics, and from tomorrow onwards we will have the okay, good. The person appointed by the sponsor for conducting and monitoring the trial is an investigator. Okay, very good. But it's not appointed by the sponsor, but it is selected the site in a clinical trial site. So let's say I select in charge of site in exactly any site in the investigator. But not only this, you all should know the investigator responsibilities. Okay, get to know what is the investigator responsibilities. Okay, so since this is our first session, I've that's all with me for today. And from next class onwards, we will talk about complete CDM. But if we only get the answers for these questions. Okay, so that's all from mine, guys, today. Okay, thank you so much. Bye bye.